afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another CTO conversation. Today, I'm very pleased to have with me the CTO from Kiva, Anuj Tuli, who is going to talk to us a little bit about today, about some of the challenges of moving into a cloud environment. How are things going, Anuj?
Doing well, thank you, Michael.
Good. So one of the things I know we've talked about a few times is that there's just a variety of challenges that clients have as they're operationalizing the cloud. What are you seeing as sort of the key challenges people are running up against?
Yeah, I mean, with cloud, as we know, the paradigm shift happens, especially with the way workloads are deployed and managed. So I would say the biggest challenge is, getting into this issue of, hey, we have particular set of skills, or our team has a particular set of skills. And so you start utilizing tools that may or may not be designed for doing things that you're doing. So essentially overextending some of the functionality that a tool may be designed for. And if you notice nowadays in the open source world, you have probably 20 tool sets for every category of tools, right? So then it becomes an issue of figuring out who has the skills to learn or learning new things. Tools come and get replaced. So at the end of the day, I would feel that a strategy for reskilling or upskilling your workforce is pretty critical. I would also say that in this market nowadays, hiring people is also a challenge, even in the remote era that we are in. So overall, I would say a good strategy around how do we train the workforce, how do we reskill them, upskill them, maybe new hires, and then figuring out how that fits into the tool sets we have, how that works with your organization. That's the critical factor to make this work.
Sure. And I mean, what you just described is almost a catch-22. It's like you need the skills to be able to adopt the best tools, but the skills you have lead you towards a path with a tool that may not be the best choice, and you end up with some technical debt around your operations environment that can be really challenging to get out of. So I think one of the things we've talked about too that relates to that in a way, or at least relates to technical debt in the operations world, is product owners and how important it is for clients to have a product owner as part of this cloud migration, or just in general. And maybe you could share a little bit about why that's such a critical role.
Yeah, so if you look at how we've moved from the waterfall to the Scrum model, product owners are typically responsible for managing and leading a Scrum team. And so what they serve as a liaison between your business owners who may have specific requests on the business side, and then pairing them with the technical engineers, the technical architects. So I think it's a pretty critical role. And I want to separate that from, say, a Scrum Master. So a Scrum Master is also part of the Scrum team. The difference is that the product owner is responsible for the overall outcome of the team, while the Scrum Master is responsible for making sure that your user stories for the Scrum are all properly assigned. You are hitting your velocity, the Scrum velocity, doing sprint plannings, retrospectives, things like that. And then you also have the role of a project manager, which is slightly different in that, because in this matrix org, you may have people reporting into different silos, right? So your project owner is responsible for making sure that the right people with the right skills are in the right Scrum teams, as well as sticking to budgets. So there's a mix of different roles. The end goal is to make sure that your organization and your teams can produce outcomes that are agile, right? So you want to constantly innovate and then also not be dependent on a design model that you can never change. But product owner, coming back to it, I think it's pretty critical, like I said, because it's a liaison between your business, what the business wants to do, as well as translating it along with your technical architects to put it as tasks in your Scrum.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that's an evolution from what we would see in the waterfall approach, where you have a business analyst who's sort of that liaison and trying to gather requirements and whatever else. But this has sort of a tighter cohesion to it. It ties more closely to those deliverables and sort of the innovative acceleration you get out of doing an agile model in the first place. Sure. Well, awesome. Thank you, Anuj. I appreciate you joining me today, and we look forward to talking to you again sometime soon.